Hello, and in today's episode, we're going to dive deep into what it really means to live with purpose later in life. I'm joined by my friend, Craig Goldblatt, who is a speaker and adventurer and actually has worked in 5 continents. He founded a charity and built a school for 800 kids and a vocational program for them in West Africa. His passion is supporting people with the sense of self, finding their sense of self and purpose. And together, we're going to explore the art of fulfillment and the science of achievement and how aligning the two could transform what you do. Craig, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited.
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, me too. Yeah,
Good.
it's lovely to be here, and I'm excited about our chat.
Yeah, me too. So, I mean, I've done one of your days in finding a sense of purpose with you.
Yes.
Um, and I just I want you to explain how important it is, especially as we kind of drift away from thinking that our purpose might be our work. How important is it in later life that we have an idea of where we're going and what we're doing?
Yes. So, allow me to start by sharing that I hold a very deep belief that we live in two worlds as a human being.
Hmm.
We have an internal world and an external world. We
Hmm.
don't have one planet, if you like. We live in
Right.
two places,
Yeah.
inside our body and outside our body. And these two worlds are completely linked through what they call our sensory acuity, our senses, what we can see,
Hmm.
what we can hear, what we can feel, taste, touch. And our lives are, I believe that our lives are built neurologically through our experiences that we have and that our parents have had. And it goes way back in our genetics. And, you know, what they say is we're over 200,000 years old. And what's, for me, been so interesting throughout my life and my work in personal development is understanding how the outside world is changing so much and
Hmm.
so fast
Yeah.
that as human beings, we're being drawn so much to focus on making a difference outside of ourselves rather than inside.
Yeah.
And this has been a rapid change, probably over the last 50, 60 years, definitely throughout the technological revolution.
Yeah.
So much so that we're now becoming so addicted to reacting to the outside world that we're not it's a generalization, but we're not, in my opinion, spending nearly enough inside ourselves to be able to create that deeper sense of purpose. And for what is more, that as we become older and our chemistry changes inside,
Hmm.
I'm convinced that it's even more important as we get older to be able to live inside,
Right.
to be able to live in our home, in
Hmm.
our spiritual, psychological home,
Hmm.
and to take control of how we want to be. Because when we're younger, we have so much testosterone, so many different exciting avenues to be able to pursue when we're very young.
Hmm.
And that is about learning and developing. And then as our bodies change and as we change as we get older, then my experience from being around so many people our age is that our whole makeup, our cellular makeup, everything inside ourselves changes. And that's why, as we get older, it becomes even more important that we spend time inside than a 15-year-old or a 23-year-old.
Right. So, how do you help people spend more time inside? As you say, we're so bombarded with tech, social media, our own expectations, what we think people expect us to do. How do we find ourselves?
So when we look at the two things that as you've already mentioned very eloquently, we have two things as human beings that are most important to us.
Hmm.
We have achievement and fulfillment.
Hmm.
And achievement, I believe, to be a science.
Okay.
And as Anthony Robbins taught me 21 years ago, achievement is a science. It has steps. If you want to run faster, there's a way to do it. If you want to
Yeah.
build a business, there's steps, there's ways
Yeah.
to do it. And then the art of fulfillment, there's no steps.
No.
You paint a picture if you like. It's what they call a tapestry of life, isn't it? And so the way in which we create more fulfillment, I believe, in lives, and I know that this is complex, but to simplify it greatly, is for us to start by sitting quietly, and for us to be able to understand the power, the immense power of our breath. And so in essence, it's as simple as that, that where our focus goes, energy flows. So in other words, if we start to value our inside world, it starts with the value, the quality of what we want to experience. So if we value ourselves and love ourselves enough, we have to love ourselves to do this, or we have to at least really like ourselves. Then we are willing to sit with ourselves. And as we sit with ourselves quietly, we can delve into a world that can be painful, of course. Our mind can be a painful place, but we allow ourselves to sit quietly and to be able to explore the magnificence of our dreams and our imagination and our childlike energy and our creativity and our beliefs and our values. And so we've got a whole world in here that so many of us haven't ventured into in so many years. So I've bumbled along a lot over the last couple of minutes, but in essence, it's about a few things. The number one thing to be able to find fulfillment and go inside is to value ourselves as a human being. The second thing is to be able to sit with the quiet. And the third thing is to value our breath. Those three things are vitally important. There's so much more I want to talk about, but that's the short answer. Maybe it was a long answer, but there you go.
The long answer is because a mini series coming out on Netflix. Okay, so I was fairly new at finding myself. It literally is, first of all, to give myself the time to do it, and that is part of valuing myself, isn't it?
Yes.
And then when I sit quietly, it's to be aware of my breath. So the only thing, so we've got this, what Mo Gauda, the former CTO of Google, calls his Becky brain. You've got this brain that just goes, Have you done the washing? Have you done this? Have you done? Don't forget to call this. All these things come into your head. Does that matter? Does that matter?
No, for me, it doesn't matter, and it's natural. Here's what's fascinating. So let me talk to you for a few minutes about how I understand our internal world.
Okay.
For me.
Yeah.
So the first thing to say is that Eckhart Tolle said this, actually, I believe. Well, he was the first person that I heard it from, at least, is that we have two of us living inside our bodies. We have an ego or a pain body, and we have the deeper self.
Okay.
We have two of us. We have an egoic self.
I've got more.
Okay, well, we've got lots, but we've got two main ones.
Yeah.
So we've got our ego, a little boy or girl that runs around our mind and that is very naughty and disrupts us.
Yeah.
And sometimes even worse than that. And we have an egoic self. And then we have a deep self. And when we sit quietly, or when we start to want to explore our sense of who we are and start to love ourselves more, what's really important is to sit on the edge of our mind with our deep self. In other words, just actually psychologically pull up a seat next to our brain. I do it physically, so I can actually see myself sitting on the edge of my mind and just watching these thoughts come in and go out. And just understand that all the crazy thoughts, this is very important, all the crazy thoughts that I have and all the negativity comes from outside of my conditioning, even as a child, and it flows through me and I can let it go. And it is part of me, but it's wrapped up in a little part of me called my ego, and it flows through me and goes out. And my deeper self will have nothing to do with it. The real self, the Craig, has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
And I can train and practice myself to just watch this nonsense go on in this brain of mine, go in and out and say all sorts of stuff. I've been driving along thinking about all sorts of mad things in my head. And I sometimes turn around to myself, Craig, how did you get there? But once you start to see it as a bit of a joke and you
Mhm.
laugh at it,
Yeah.
it disseminates,
Yeah.
it slows down. And what that allows,
Hmm.
if we're willing to see this ego as what it is, it's an identity of ourselves that has been built over maybe thousands of years
Yeah.
that tests us, this ego, and it sits there like a little devil and it says all that, but it's not truly us.
Mm.
With whether we've been, dare I say, an axe murderer, or we've done horrible things, or we've behaved terribly, or taken drugs, or all sorts of stuff, or with the Dalai Lama. Everybody has this little ego that's formed through behaviors and conditioning, and to just see it as what it is, and not our deeper self, our soul, who we truly are.
Hmm.
And once we can become practiced as that, Joe, then we can start, I believe, to find a deeper sense of self and to start liking and loving ourselves.
Yeah.
And then there's another process. Once we not have mastered that, because I don't know if maybe certain people in the world become enlightened, but for us to be able to be really at peace with who we are, there's much more work to do, of course. And I'd love to explore that with you. So there's another long answer.
That's love. No, that's a long answer, but the short answer is actually it doesn't
It's
matter
our
if
ego.
all the stuff comes in, because the whole idea of sitting there by
Yeah.
yourself and being quiet doesn't happen. So just
Yeah,
watch
it's
those
not it's
things.
not us, it's our
Watch
ego.
it. Just watch it happen. Just watch it happen.
Watch it happen,
And if
and
you
it will
can,
and if you laugh at it and just watch it happen and disassociate yourself from it, from all of these nonsense thoughts and things coming in and out, then your ego softens or lessens or becomes quieter
and
because it can't play anymore. It's thrown a lot of rocks and it's not getting anything.
and then that is part of the art of fulfillment, as it is allowing
Yes,
yourself just to be. And then
100%.
when you're in that place, so you said you're
Yes,
of peace and you love, and then
yes.
you can start. How do you start to feel fulfilled? What
So
happened next?
so So I have studied something over the last 20 years that was built by a chap called Robert Dilts in NLP, and many of you will have heard of NLP. It's an interesting name. It's called Neuro Linguistic Programming, and for me, it's the study of excellence. It's the study of internal excellence. And two chaps, a mathematician and a linguist, many years ago in the 70s, Richard Bandler and John Grinder, were geniuses and came up with a psychology or a language that so we could understand what's going on in here, our
Mhm.
subconscious, and how it communicates with the conscious and the outside world. I wanted to give you that background.
Yeah.
And there was a trainer very early in the NLP's life in the 70s called Robert Dilts, and he apparently built something called neurological levels of change. How do we change inside to become more fulfilled, to
Yeah.
find more of a
Yeah.
purpose? And he gave us a number of different levels. And at the top of his diagram, if you like, there's purpose.
Hmm.
And he describes purpose as the deepest thing that we have. And he describes it as our reason for living beyond ourselves. So our purpose on this planet is to serve other people, not to serve ourselves first, but then other people. And then below that is who we truly are, our deep self, our character. That sits below purpose. And then the level below that is beliefs and values. What's important to us? And so I've learned over my work and spending time with tens of thousands of people is that what then helps our deep self to recognize our love and become more fulfilled is our beliefs. Our beliefs change everything.
Hmm.
So, our beliefs, if you think of life as a house,
Yeah.
our beliefs are the foundations under the ground.
Yeah.
And then our identity is the first floor, the ground floor. And then the purpose is the second floor and the roof and what have you. But the foundations of our whole emotional house is our beliefs and our values. And our beliefs change everything. So what is a belief? A belief is a standard. It's a rule that we give ourselves. And I can take you through very quickly, if we have time, what I believe creates a belief. But we can believe all sorts of things as human beings. And we can believe that I'm terrible and I hate myself. And in a short space of time, that can change. It's a chemical change that can change us to start loving myself more. And that is complex, but we can change our beliefs. And it can happen very quickly, or it can take a lifetime. But it's our beliefs that change the quality of our fulfillment and our love of ourselves is what we believe to be true.
Wow. Okay. And is it Anthony Robbins that said? Is it Anthony Robbins who said that a belief is a thought that we repeat, that we carry on repeating, and therefore becomes a belief? Is that?
I don't know if that was him, but I'm sure that, many people have shared that, and I'm sure he shared something along those lines. And in my life, I've been so lucky. I've had so many great teachers, him being one. And let me share this is what changes a belief about ourselves. So a belief is a rule, a standard. So a standard belief is I am enough.
Yeah.
And I am amazing. And this is a belief of excellence, they call it, is everybody's doing the best they can with the resources that they have. That's a belief.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have all these powerful beliefs, or a negative belief or limiting belief, they call it, is this is over and I hate myself and I'm never going to achieve anything. And so we change that, and we can change those beliefs. And the way in which that happens, as I understand it inside, is this. Step one is we're always evolving, to understand as a human being that we're always changing, and that's always going to happen, which is wonderful. So we always have the opportunity to change and grow.
Yeah.
Our evolution is chemical, and it happens every second, even when we're sleeping. And what that creates to evolve is it creates a sensory experience. So we have an experience inside ourselves that is step two. Step one is evolution. Step two is we have an experience. Now, an experience could be that I'm now looking at this beautiful lady on the other side of this podcast here.
Is that me?
And I'm talking to you. Yes. And I'm having this experience.
Yeah.
And that then I attach a meaning to that, but I've had an experience, a sensory meaning. That then creates a thought. Is through this experience of having this podcast experience right now, I'm having lots of thoughts about it.
Right.
And those thoughts in our head, create a new, if it's a new thought in my life, it creates a new neuro pathway in my brain.
Yeah.
And lots of neurons called learning cells come and play on that new thought. Yeah. So if me and you play with this for a second, Joe, and we say, think of a blue elephant riding on top of a pink dolphin. Okay, you probably never had that thought before.
Never.
So now you think of a blue elephant riding on a pink dolphin, and just in this second, you've created a new neuro pathway in your brain. Now lots of neurons are coming along and learning about that. Now, if you have that thought again in 2 minutes' time, more neurons come. And if you have that thought 20 times a day, or 50, 100 times a day, that neuro pathway becomes the M25.
Yeah.
And billions and trillions of neurons come and play on that. So if you have a thought over and over and over and over again, guess what that thought becomes?
A belief.
It becomes a belief. And then our brain says, well, because I've thought about it so much, it must be true.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it's the truth. It's our truth. And this happens a lot when we are children, because we have a very empty brain and everything's an experience, a sensory experience. And then we explore it over because we've got time and space to do that. And so then this thought becomes a belief, and the belief then allows us to take action.
Yeah.
And we take action on that belief and behave in a certain way. And then that helps us to evolve, and it goes round in a circle. Now, what's interesting is when we change our experience, we can change that thought, and then we can change the belief, and then we change the action. So So it starts with changing our internal experience, which is back to sitting quietly or watching our mind or loving ourselves. So I'll just give you a few external tips that can change our beliefs and then therefore help our purpose more.
Okay.
Who we spend our life with is who we will become.
Yeah.
So if we want to become more fulfilled, we need to spend more time with people that are fulfilled. I know that's very simplistic,
Yeah.
but it's the truth. If we want to become more fulfilled, we need to have an experience by reading a great book that serves us, not the Daily Mail. We need to read Shakespeare.
Yeah.
So who we spend our time with, if we play sport and exercise and say smile at somebody, all of these experiences change our opportunity to have a different thought. And the more intense that, this is important, the more intense that experience, the more our beliefs will change. That's why a heart attack changes our belief.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Stops eating
Absolutely.
bacon sandwiches. So the more intense the experience, the more shocking in a good or bad way, the more it changes those thought patterns, the more the neurons learn something different, the more intense it is in our brain, and therefore we believe differently and we have the opportunity to become more fulfilled.
And so, especially as we are getting older, we have our beliefs, which is our thoughts repetitively have
Yes.
they're not
Yes.
just the
Yes.
M25, they're far bigger than the M25.
Yes.
They're an autobahn now in Germany,
Yes.
traveling along at 125 miles an hour. You know,
Yes.
we've got such beliefs that we doing so in order to have an intense moment of
Yes.
change,
Yes.
we can control that intensity by having an intense moment of fulfillment if we are
Yes.
quiet. And the intensity does not have to be trauma, it can be an intense
No.
moment full of love and peace. And
Yes. And indeed.
okay. And so I want to just loop back to purpose, because there are a lot of people. I mean, I get a bit hacked off with purpose. I've said it before on the podcast. It's like we all seem to think, or there's this sort of like there's this thing out there that you've got to be Mother Teresa or Princess
Yeah.
Diana or somebody who's got, or Martin Luther King, who's got a mission and a purpose, and it has to be big.
Mm-hmm.
And so when our life closes in on us, kids leave home, we don't see as many people, we don't work, so therefore we lose our meaning. How do the purpose, does it need to be massive? Do we need to
So,
change the world?
so here's what I believe
Okay.
about purpose
Mm-hmm.
is purpose is doing something that fulfills us inside.
Nice.
That's what purpose is.
Nice. Okay.
It's about doing something that fulfills us inside. That's a purpose.
Right.
And my reality about all these big things is every generation, I believe, has to learn the lessons again. My dad told me that, and I think he's right. There's something endemic inside a human being that says that we have to create and destroy. You know, we have to, like a child with building blocks, we have to learn through having these intense experiences.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And the planet and the universe and then multi-universes are slightly bigger than me, just slightly. And I am so incredibly insignificant.
Yeah.
So the reality is, apparently, again, according to my father, who I see as immensely bright, emotionally and psychologically, amazing man. Dad once said to me, Craig, if you in your mind's eye, if you take a standard sized beach by the ocean, just a normal sized beach, just our universe, the planet that we're on is just one grain of sand on that entire beach. That's how big the universe is. And I am a grain of sand on that grain of sand, not even.
Yeah.
So I am so incredibly insignificant in the bigger scheme of life.
Yeah.
Having said that, inside my body, I'm very important.
You are really important.
And to my family, I'm very important. And to my friends, I'm very important. And so, and they're very, very important to me.
Mhm.
And so in my little world, purpose is important.
Yeah.
But purpose, whether you're Martin Luther King or somebody who hasn't done anything as grandiose as that, purpose is about waking up in the morning and knowing you're doing something that means something to you in a good way. That's it. So there are people, I'm convinced, I'll use the example of mothers because
Yeah.
of Mother Earth and everything else. There are mums out there all over the planet who have one child,
Mhm.
and to be able to be a great mum for them over their lifetime and support that one child, and whether that child's 45 or 8, is an incredible purpose.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a huge purpose, and just as big as Martin Luther King bigger for that child.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so as we get older, I think we realize that purpose is about doing something we enjoy and that fulfills us, doing our garden, growing an enormous charity, growing a multi-billion-pound business, or looking
Yeah.
after our grandson.
Yeah.
That's purpose. Is doing something that feels good, that you know is good for you, and that fulfills you and teaches you something. That's purpose. Doesn't matter how big or small it is.
I think we should leave it there. I genuinely think we should leave it there.
Okay. Okay. Wow, I just feel like I've got going. Okay.
These episodes are only about half an hour long, so
Yeah. No, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. I just have I've loved it. And
it's been that last bit about purpose is so important. It's the fact that it doesn't matter whose purpose it is. It doesn't matter what other people are doing. It's the fact that you feel that you have a sense of fulfillment.
Yes.
And achievement and you're doing something that you enjoy daily is your purpose.
Yeah.
And I think to take that any further and to explore that.
No, I completely agree. That's wonderful, Jo. Can I end with something for 20 seconds, 30 seconds?
Please do. I was just about to ask if there's anything else we should talk about.
No, just for a few seconds. We have 30 trillion cells in our body, each one with its own uniqueness and its job. You're computing millions of pieces of information every second. This is what I say to everybody, and I wholeheartedly believe it. If there's one thing that I think is most important for our lives and our purpose, if I may be so, but possibly arrogant to share this, you are uniquely magnificent as a human being, more magnificent than we will ever know through science. You're beyond magnificent. So we have to love who we are. Our behaviors are not us. Love ourselves, love our deep self, not our ego. Love who we really are.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been great. I really enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed it. Me too. You'll have to come back.
Okay. No, it's been great.
Thanks, Craig.
Thank you.